guys, this is Heather from HealthyEatingStartsHere.com. All right, today I wanted to talk about whole versus processed versus refined foods because I use those words a lot and people ask me fairly often what each of those means because there are a ton of different definitions out there. So what I mean might be slightly different from what someone else means, and I wanted to go over briefly what I mean specifically. All right, so whole foods I think of as something that hasn't been altered from its natural state at all. So something like brown rice. Now this is dry brown rice. I would also consider cooked brown rice to be whole food, although you could argue that it's been processed because the definition of processed is anything that's been changed in some way from its original form. So whether it's been pureed, whether it's been ground, whether it's been cooked, those things are all processing. Now because pretty much every food could technically be called processed, I tend to think of things like cooking brown rice as staying whole food. Things like cutting up a cucumber, still a whole food even though it's cut up. What I think of as processed would be if you take that rice and grind it into flour. So this is brown rice flour. So nothing has been taken away, no nutrients have been taken away from the brown rice, it's just changed in its form into a flour. And then refined would be any food that has had a component that's nutritional taken away from it. So white rice would be the example here. So what they do is they take brown rice and they polish off all the fiber, which is healthy for you. That's the nutritional component of the rice. So when that's been taken away, that's a refined grain. And I don't actually have any white rice to show you because I don't have any in my house because I tend to not use refined ingredients. And then there's another definition of processed that I sometimes call prepared. So those would be prepared foods. So if you think of something that has been prepared in a restaurant or put in a box that you buy in the store, so something like a brown rice dinner or a white rice dinner that you would buy, you know, they come in little containers and you can microwave them or heat them up somehow at home. Those would be prepared foods, and they often include refined ingredients. So they often include white rice, white sugar, white flour, things like that. But there's a difference between refined and prepared. You can have a prepared food that's made with all whole foods, and those would be great. So like Amy's soups, if you guys know the brand Amy's, their soups are often done with all whole ingredients. So those are the definitions, and then if we look at specific foods, I went into more detail on my website, so you can just check under the video for that. But briefly, I'll just mention that I talked about flours. So flours are processed, meaning they've been changed from their original state, but if they're unrefined like a brown rice flour, then they're totally fine. They haven't had any nutrients taken away. And what else did I want to mention? Oh, spices and herbs, dried. They've been altered from their natural state. They've been ground up, but they are very healthful and they're very easy to use in your cooking, so I like that. It makes it easier for you to use it and get the benefits from it because there's a ton of nutrition in dried herbs and spices. And then the other one that I get a lot of questions about is nut butters. So this is tahini, which is just ground up sesame seeds. So if you take the sesame seeds and grind them up, you have nut butter. And nothing has been taken away, so this is a processed but not refined food. And the only ingredient I see on here is organically grown, dry roasted sesame seeds. That's what I always look for when I look for nut butters, because one thing to be careful of is that they often have added oils and sugars and salt. If you see the big commercial varieties of peanut butter, mostly I'm thinking of, try to go for the natural stuff that only has the nut or seed in it. And then, although it's been processed, it's not refined and it doesn't have any refined ingredients in it. All right, so I think that's a good overview for today. You can check out the post on my site for more details if you want. Just click over under the video if you're on YouTube. And if you're on my site, you can just read down below this video and you'll see all the info there. All right, So that's it for me today. Later this week, I'm going to post a video of some quinoa cookies that I'm going to make and use some different types of whole foods, processed foods, and a tiny little bit of refined foods, because sometimes that's what happens. So I'll see you later this week, and in the meantime, have a good one. Okay, bye guys.